Are you an Indian bride who planned her destination wedding between spring and summer 2020, and now due to the coronavirus you're panicking and don't know what to do? Do you have to postpone the wedding? Will you lose your money? Will your plans fall through? Hi, I'm Svetlana Krasnova from Best Indian Weddings Italy, and every day I help Indian couples organize their beautiful weddings in Italy. But today I'm not going to tell you how beautiful Italy is. In fact, this message may address all those couples who planned her destination wedding in Spain, Portugal, France, for example. And I'm not going to tell you that Best Indian Weddings Italy is the first and only wedding planning agency in Italy specialized in Indian weddings, because this message may address also couples who have other wedding planners by their side, or those who planned their weddings by themselves. I don't have to convince you or sell you anything. The purpose of this video is helping you. Yes, helping you understand what you can do in this time of pure chaos. I can understand how confused and insecure you may feel right now, and I hope I can give you a little help. Even for us wedding professionals, it's a hard time. Nobody knows how long it will last. We already have our season fully planned and organized. Venues, caterings, photographers, wedding planners. Our calendar is full. And now, will everything go through? Here in Italy, we're going to be on lockdown until the 3rd of April. And there is a new law banning all public gatherings and therefore weddings. But what will happen next, and especially what will happen outside of Italy, in the UK, where no important safety measures have been taken to stop the spread of the virus? The first thing I want to tell you, dear brides, is not to panic, because panic leads to rash choices, often the wrong ones that you will regret. People panic when they're scared, when they're facing the unknown that scares you. That's when our mind tries to protect itself, and as a consequence we panic. But I tell you, stop. Try to analyze the situation in a detached way. Let's think about the situation in China. They were the first one attacked by the virus. It took them 80 days to fight it, and now weddings are allowed again. Even in the worst hit area, people can get married again. And this happened in such a huge and complex country like China. Yes, it's true that Italy, being the second worst hit country, has already taken measures following China's examples, while other countries still need to be organized. This means that there will be a delay in the eradication of the virus, and this will influence the timing too. Anyway, it's already happened in China, and virus will disappear in Italy and Europe too. But let's take a closer look. First of all, we have to separate the weddings into 3 groups, depending on the date of the wedding. In the first group, there are all these weddings planned for April, May and June. In the second group, the weddings from July to October. And in the third group, all the weddings of 2021, starting from November 2020. Of course, the first category is most at risk, because we can't know for sure if the wedding will unfold or not. Certainly, all the weddings of April and the beginning of May will have to be postponed. But we can still wait a week or two before making a decision about the wedding of the end of May, end of June. But I suggest starting to choose 2 or 3 alternative dates and verify if they're available. And we're going to look more into this shortly. To the second category, weddings from July to October, I suggest waiting. Now it's still too early thinking about postponing the wedding, and especially there is no scientific reason that proves this need. There are a lot of scientists in the world sharing their theories, trying to have their 5 minutes of glory. But the scientists are only increasing the public's panic, making them feel more confused than before. The only reliable version is China's example, because we are fighting the same battle. It took them 80 days, a little less than 3 months, and in Italy, in China's shared opinion, it will take 2 to 4 months since the start of the quarantine to defeat the virus. March, April, May, June. But 4 months is the worst case scenario. And here in Italy we're already responding well, and the experts predict that by the end of April, beginning of May, everything will be back to normal. So for all those couples getting married from July to October, my advice is to wait until mid-April and then get up to speed according to the situation in that moment. Because for now there is no condition to postpone the wedding. The third category includes the couples who are going to get married from November 2020 and the next year. They are mostly the couples of 2021, because not many choose to get married in the winter. To you, dear brides and groom, I say keep calm. There is no need to worry, no need to be anxious, relax. It's true that now everyone is rushing to postpone the wedding, and that may seem obvious to you to do the same. But my advice to you is slow down, take a deep breath and keep planning. Actually, during this time of smart working, when everyone is working from home, you even have extra time to dedicate to the planning of your 2021 wedding. Take advantage of this time and make the most of it. Firstly, because even the vendors here in Italy and also in France, Spain and Portugal are at home trying to get ready for the post-quarantine period. So they may dedicate you more time. They may be faster in their replies. They may call you by WhatsApp or Skype and move forward with the planning. Secondly, because most of the couple 2020 who are at risk are getting to postpone their weddings to the next year. In these last days, I made some calls to understand the situation of the vendors, and many of them told me that the weddings of the spring 2020 have been moved to the same date of the next year, 2021. So, dear couples of 2021, please bear in mind that the dates of April, May and June 2021 are flying off the shelves, and they will be sold out shortly, because most of them were already booked, being the most requested months for weddings in Italy, especially those in May and June, and many have been postponed. So if you wait too long, you risk to find everything fully booked. To those who still haven't booked a date, the advice is absolutely to go upstream and hurry up. Otherwise, you run the risk of becoming the couple of 2022. Now let's have a look at the legal aspect of the situation, and that mostly concerns the couple at risk, because most part of the wedding has already been paid. So what happens to the money? In Italy, there is a possibility to postpone the service with the issue of the called voucher, which means that the whole package gets immediately postponed to a new date chosen together. All the paid deposit gets converted into this voucher and then frozen until the end of 2020 while waiting for the new date. So basically it's the same thing, but the difference is that if you don't have already a new date, You have time until the end of the year to choose one. Only those services planned between March and the 3rd of April can be refunded in case it's not possible to postpone the date, given the importance of the situation, of course. For the services booked from April 4, there is the possibility to postpone to not lose the money, but not of the full refund. If you choose to cancel the event anyway, here the clauses of the contract enter into force for those services you paid the deposit for. Therefore, check your contracts and decide what to do. And maybe in the meantime do a relaxing yoga session, so you won't make a rushed decision that you will regret. As I wrote in my Instagram and Facebook post, winter always turns to springs. Please keep it in mind. The final part of this video is about practical advice on how to postpone the date of the wedding. If you notice it, while talking about postponing the date, I have never used the word wedding but service, because the wedding is made up of different services and each provider answers for itself. So if you have already chosen the date, you have to check it with all the vendors, because some of them may have this date already booked while others don't. And then you'll end up when you started and you feel like everything is going wrong. Again, don't panic. Contact your wedding planner, give her 2-3 alternative dates so that she can check with all the vendors involved and choose among your dates the one where all the vendors are available. Of course, it's important to write down the list in order of priority. Usually you start from the wedding venue, then you check with the catering, photographer, videographer, florist and the owner. You also need to consider that maybe not all the vendors will be available for the new date. And if you signed a contract directly with the vendor, you have to check with them if they can entrust you with an equally efficient one, whether it's a photographer, a musician, a florist, etc. Instead, if you signed a contract with the wedding planning agency where all the vendor services are included, it will be your wedding planner's job to find alternative valid vendors if any of the previous ones aren't available. What happens to the deposit you paid to the vendor who is not available for the new date and you have to hire a different one? Unless it's the venue or catering where the amounts are high, for the other vendors follow the rule of the refund with the deduction of the expenses incurred. So if the florist, for example, has done some inspections and has prepared some personalized decor projects for your wedding involving financial expenses such as gas and highway toll, and has spent his time planning, which also has a value, all these expenses will be deducted from the deposit the couple paid to the florist. In other cases, it's up to the vendor, and it may be 10 to 15% of the total amount agreed for the services. My advice is to consider the possibility of the voucher for all the services in case the vendor is already booked for the new date. For example, you can do the pre-wedding or post-wedding photo shooting in case the photographer you have booked is not available for the new date. The service is cheaper than the wedding service, and maybe it will be the same price that you already gave. So when you're in Italy in another occasion, you can plan your nice love story photo shooting with your favorite photographer to have a beautiful memory of your trip. The makeup artist may do your makeup on that occasion, or if she is a more artist from the UK, she can do your makeup for your birthday or another occasion, for example, which is always cheaper than the wedding itself. If you risk to lose the florist deposit, You may convert it into a voucher for decorating your hotel room for some special occasion when you are back to Italy, for example. As you can see, there are several ways to not lose what you have already paid, and it will depend on how good your wedding planner is in finding the different ways that suits your situation. If you're a bride planning your wedding by yourself and you don't have a wedding planner, I can give you some advices for free on what to do in your situation. You can contact me by email at hello@bestindianweddingsitaly.com and explain in detail your situation, and I will be back to you as soon as possible. I hope this video was helpful, has reassured you and have cleared any doubt. In this period, everything is about our attitude. We don't have to follow the herd. We need to have an impartial point of view, even if it's about such an important event as your wedding. Together we will make it. It will be okay. See you soon in Italy. Take care.